Am I live? Am I live? Am I live? All right. What is up, guys? Andrew here, and welcome to Comicbooker. All things comics from a creator. So, I apologize for the technical difficulties. I am rusty at this YouTube thing. It's been a bunch of months since I have been uploading anything on here, and it's been really busy. But you know, life life has been happening. So I've been working. I've been working hard. I also had like a bunch of stuff to go through. Here's my current sort of like workspace. I made it so I can kind of hide a bunch of things that are not yet ready to be shown. I wanted to show you guys this to start with. This is a really cool image that I got to do for DC Comics recently. Was just really for their social media channels. They asked me to do this. It was an official commission, and I had such a blast drawing this image. The brief was to do a Where's Wally style image with a lot of DC characters acting out various 2024 pop culture moments. So there's a bit of Olympic stuff in here. There's stuff from the Billboard Top 100. There's a few little jokes I threw in. Like, I don't know if you remember John Cena coming out during the Oscars. So there's that. And a bunch of extra characters that I tried to fit in because I'm a geek and I can't help it. I threw in Chip, the Green Lantern. I threw in some stuff I'm pointing out because no one noticed them, right? This is the question there in the background with the question card above Wonder Woman. There's Breach over there, which is an obscure 2000s DC series that was supposed to star Captain Atom, but ended up just, being a new character designed by the amazing Marcus Martin, and it's beautiful. Hey Arnaud, welcome. Sorry for the long absence. It's been a while, yeah. And yeah, I had such fun on this. I threw in my favorite boy, Bunker, of course, who I redesigned last year. I got to draw a bunch of people I've never drawn officially before. So there's Batman, Constantine. I got to draw Superman, and this is Monkey Prince on the Cloud. That's an Akira Toriyama tribute. Over here, above, that's Psycho Pirate, the Crisis character. And you'll also see towards the right of the stage in the foreground, you're going to see Catwoman up there in sort of like an Ariana Grande style look. And there's Batmite over here, who I think between Psycho Pirate and Batmite, we have like a good vent for story logic. If you need a reason why all these characters are gathered here doing silly things and being silly, Batmite alone can make it all happen in one snap of his finger. So, Teen Lantern is a somewhat obscure or very new Young Justice character during the Brian Bendis run in the last 5 years or so. I really love drawing Rita Farr. I think she's like one of the breakout characters that really got a lot of pathos added to her in the Doom Patrol series on HBO Max. And I just love being able to draw her in the background with her hair styled in that sort of Hollywoody way of, the character that got brought to life by that actor so well. So yeah, here's I think I'll probably do a dedicated video on this at some point, but I wanted to show you guys. This is what the inks look like. Sort of halfway through, you can see just how scratchy and unfinished things are. But I'm already sort of inking. And then here is the rough roughs, right? which can I show the time lapse of this? Yeah, so you can see it really started like super duper rough, and then I just sort of built the image slowly and surely. If you look at the final file, the whole thing took about, if I'm right, actually let's just check. I don't remember. Procreate records in case you're using Procreate, it records statistics, and if you can see here, it's 45 hours of work, so it's a lot of time. And it took me about 2 weeks juggling this between this and work, because I have a 9 to 5, I have a day job. But I think it's worth it, and I think it was fun and beautiful, and yeah. Here's another thing I'll show you guys. This is Chip and Dip. I'm gonna do a video on this, but I'm so excited because this is coming out soon. It's a project that's been long coming. I've had like 60 or so comic strips ready to go and be collected for a while. And I've only gotten around to putting it together now. So hopefully it comes through on the printer. Once it does, I think I might release it for New York Comic Con. And then it should go up on my website and other stuff if you guys are interested in a lighter sort of Calvin and Hobbesy style thing. And then what else can I show? I can't really show much. I can't show that yet. Oh, this is a recent 3-pager I did for an indie comic called View of the Phoenix Trees. And I was assigned to do the prologue, which is this sort of mythical retelling of a popular Vietnamese legend about a dragon and a war with a fairy warlord and all this other stuff. And it was so fun to draw. I centralized all the pages. I did them sort of this montage style. There's like rough letters here, so you can kind of see how the letters would flow through the page. But yeah, I'm so proud of this. It's 3 pages, so somewhat short, but the whole epic is told in those 3 pages. And yeah, I'm really proud of how it came out. I think from a layout standpoint and a polish standpoint, I sort of broke new ground with this one. And I really tried to make the colors vibrant and juicy. I was looking at a lot of Matt Hollingsworth stuff, a lot of Dave Stewart stuff, especially when he colors J.H. Williams. And yeah, that's this I just finished last week, I think. So I've been busy. I've been keeping busy. But yeah, one thing I haven't been busy on is this YouTube channel, which I feel a little bad about. Hey Brian, welcome. I'm really sorry, guys. It's been hard. I had some drama happening to me throughout the year, and I just couldn't juggle everything at the same time. So, you know, it's only now that I'm actually finally getting a little bit of time to like pour some love back into the channel. So yeah, so this is just a little live stream. I figured we'd do it for about an hour, which is how I usually do these things. No pressure to stay if you have stuff to do. All of this will be just archived on the thing, but I figured I'd draw a little something, you know, while we're hanging out here. And yeah, I'll be checking out the chat as I go. I think I'll start some music. Give me a sec. I have this like royalty-free playlist, so we can have a little music while we draw, and hopefully you get inspired and you're working on all your projects. I'm so excited to see. Ooh, there we go. I've been paying attention to the comments people have been leaving on the videos, and I'm honestly really excited to see some of the projects you guys are cooking up. And yeah, so today, I don't know. I'm just gonna sketch, and then we'll go. I'll check the chat every so often and respond. But yeah, hopefully my iPad works. Yes. Okay. I've been having technical issues setting up this stream this whole time, because I am rusty because I haven't done this in months. So this is kind of like a nice way to get back into it. And if I do this right, hopefully, hopefully if I can get my life back in balance, in a good balance, I should be able to get back into a groove of doing this more often. I have so many cool videos that are sort of halfway in production, or I've thought of them, and some of them were like videos that you guys requested, like how to set up a comic page and other stuff like that. So I want to do those things justice and get them out. It's just been, a little busy. But yeah, I had a really, really bad... I think I stopped posting to this channel around June or July. I'm not sure the exact date, but that was around the time of Brooklyn Comic Con, so it was June. And what happened was I started to have these mysterious headaches, which were really painful and were sort of like that kind of like cluster migraine almost, where you can't think, you can't even like look at your phone or read or anything. You just have to lie down because it's just so painful. And I didn't understand where it was coming from, and I spent about 2 weeks sort of going to doctors and trying to get diagnosed and trying to figure out what it was about. We thought it was some sort of virus or some sort of sinus thing. And after a lot of poking and prodding, we realized that the issue was my wisdom tooth. So it was a tooth thing, and I had to have a wisdom tooth removed. Apparently it'd been infected and I didn't realize it. And as you know, the teeth nerves are like, they go all the way up into the skull, and at a certain threshold of pain where it's messing with a lot of stuff, it's just hard to distinguish where it's coming from. So I had to have oral surgery. So there were a lot of things that happened at the same time, like because of that. I don't know if you guys saw my M4 iPad Pro review. I had to return it by the end of it because I had to like pay for all these medical expenses. So yeah, and then I spent some time after that recovering, and then it was San Diego Comic Con and FlameCon, and the summer sort of unrolled in front of me as I sort of ran through a bunch of deadlines and tried to make sure like all the comic stuff I committed to got done really well. And so some of the stuff I showed you was done in the period between now and then. I had another medical scare recently. Had to do with like blood pressure and hypertension. It was really awful, and I had to change everything about how I eat and how I spend my day to day, because apparently I have some sort of genetic marker that makes me just metabolically not well disposed to like processing salt or fats. So yeah, the last few have been me rejiggering my life to like live better and live longer. And I've sort of found a bit of an equilibrium. It's taken me a bit of time to adjust, and there was a lot of days where I was really like really depressed and I couldn't do anything, and I was upset and I didn't know why. I had all this why me energy, right? But after a while I was like, wait, yeah, at least I can still draw. I can still make comics. I can still make my art. And I have a job I like, and I'm surrounded by people who love me, and I have a lot to be grateful for. So yeah, that's just like I'm getting back into it, and I'm trying not to see it as a loss, but as a sort of an opportunity for growth. Um, Thank you so much, Brian. Yeah. Um, but yeah, I'm doing my best. I'm getting back into it, and hopefully in the next few weeks, next few months, um, you'll see a rejuvenated version of me who puts out more and more content as we go. So, Brian says I've been trying to draw, but I just don't get the fundamentals, and the faces and hair just keep getting messed up. Brian, I know how you feel. I for the longest time, I grew up just drawing from imagination all the time. And whenever I read comics and saw all these beautiful works by people like, you know, Barry Windsor Smith or Jim Lee and all that stuff, I thought they all just drew it out of their heads, and so I taught myself to draw things out of my head like I'm doing now, without any reference. And that's just the mode I made all my work in, and it's the mode that my art sort of grew in. However, when I moved to the US, I went to this art school called the Art Students League of New York. And one of the things I discovered was that, drawing just from imagination won't get you where you want to go, where you may want to go in terms of getting art done. Especially if it's art that you see in a lot of superhero comics, where there's a certain level of anatomy that's demanded of you and a certain level of rigor and polish. And I realized that working from reference is actually really, really beneficial. And if you can be the type of artist who regularly works from reference and draws from life and learns to draw something representationally, and then you trade between that and drawing from imagination, you're able to absorb all this info and do both pretty well. So my recommendation to you is, if you have some time, draw from reference more, especially faces, especially bodies. Get your anatomy practice happening, because it's really in the end all about memory and how well you can retain all this complex information about geometry and like how the anatomy of various little body parts go together. It's really all about how you can retain that info, and whether you can draw with reference and then shift back to imagination comfortably, or you can draw from reference all the time. Some comic artists do that. Some comic artists constantly reference, especially if they have to do complicated poses, and then stuff that they can easily pull from their memory, like faces and stuff. Maybe they don't reference those things. So you can mix and match the level of rigor with which you find yourself using reference as a tool. But use it as a tool. That way you can kind of get like the fundamental look of things much better, right? So yeah, I hope that helps. Let me know if you have other questions. Yeah, I really love drawing from life. If you have in your area some sort of place where they do life drawing, like people who will do short poses or long poses, it's really a fun experience, and I love meeting artists at events like those. Here in New York City, there's like So many. There's so many of these events. I feel like there's one every night somewhere in New York City. So we have no shortage of those things to go through. And since I work at an art school, I actually have like easy access to go to one of these things. But, you know, I do it whenever I get the chance because it's really great. I guess I'm drawing Batgirl. I didn't realize one. This is, I guess, my memory of the Cassandra Cain Batgirl. I love her so much. She's so great. She is getting a new series this fall from one of my friends, Tate Brombal. And I think the artist is Takeshi Miyazawa. And oh my god, it's been a minute since she got her own series, and I love her. She's the Batgirl who she has like a speech disability, but it's the trade-off is a little bit like Daredevil in the sense that, you know, she has really good sort of kinetic recall. And so she is able to learn martial arts really well and replicate other people's martial arts style really well. And she's one of the best fighters in the DCU, bar none. She's also the daughter of Lady Shiva, who's like one of the baddest Bat villains out there. So she's got a really good pedigree. And she's been in one of my favorite books, the James Tynion Detective Comics run, which you should check out if you haven't. And especially if you're not a big fan of the Bat books, maybe you like X-Men and stuff, and want to get sort of an introduction into the wider Bat world, that Detective Comics run was great. It was really good. Solid superhero comics that were worth following month to month. I think I'm gonna color this. I'm gonna add that yellow. I'm not sure which yellow though. I think I'll go with a darker one. Yeah. By the way, if you want me to draw anything, since this is sort of a free and open sketch session, feel free to leave a suggestion in the chat. I'll happily draw whoever next. As long as it's PG. I don't want to get in trouble. Yeah. But yeah, it's been a year so far. 2024 has been crazy. I'm really excited to, you know, in the coming weeks it's gonna be New York Comic Con. And I am going to be tabling there for the first time, which is really like an impossible dream. I don't know, some of you who follow my videos might have seen all the years that I've tried to apply to be an artist at New York Comic Con and to, you know, get sort of the ability to table. And I've been rejected over and over. And this is the first year where I've been able to actually get the opportunity to show what I can do as an exhibitor in Artist Alley, and I'm really excited for it. I'm gonna be tabling with Next Comic Art, my art dealer. They were able to secure a slot for me with a whole bunch of other artists, and yeah, I'm just so excited. I think it's gonna be a blast. Brian asks, do you have any tips for drawing faces or hair? Most of my art looks the same or are just covering them up. Tips. Let me think on that. So, faces and hair. What's a few general good tips I can think of? Okay, with faces, let's see if I can draw here on this side. Let's get this done in. With faces, you know, usually we start on an oval of sorts, right? At least this is how I tend to construct faces. Um, and then I'll sort of throw in a line. And this is sort of like, it starts with an oval, and I throw in a center line like this, which gives me a sense of which half is which. It helps you with like making the face symmetrical. And also if the face is at an angle, it sort of helps you situate where you would put the nose and all that other stuff. And then I usually divide it horizontally into this point. And this point is like, it tells me where the eyes are. And it's usually about a third of the way down-ish. Sometimes this is like almost half, so maybe not. And then around that, I start to build the face. I usually like to throw in first the nose, right? Like that. And the nose goes to about halfway through the face. And then I have another spot for the mouth. There-ish. And then I start to like, maybe I'll erase the line a little bit, the guidelines. And then I'll go in with the eyebrows. So this is the eyebrow, which is really about a third of the way down. These are very broad and generalistic measurements. If you look at a real human face, you're gonna see that the proportions will vary here or there, but having like a baseline that you work from really helps. And when you see an artist with a specific style where you're like, oh wow, their faces all kind of look a certain way, it's because they're constructing in a certain way with certain specific proportions, like I'm doing right now, right? And then once you have this, you sort of try to vary it up. So I usually throw in the eyes there after that. And once I have the eyes down, right, I start to like work out a better sculpt of the proportions. So notice how I'm making it a little more angular, and I'm being less reliant on the circle. So one thing about the circle for me, right? It usually denotes a bald head, and usually you still wanna like build a hair on top of that. So I'll denote a hairline there. Oh, another note. Sorry, I'm all over the place. This is not like a formal lecture. Sorry about that. I usually make sure the top of the ears lines up with the eyebrow, and the bottom of the ears lines up with the bottom of the nose. And that usually gives you like a good size for the ear, right? There we go. That's a general sort of like, I hope that helped. I don't know if that made any sense to you, but that's sort of generally how I tend to construct faces. And I'll vary it a bit for, if the person's a different body type, or if they're male or if they're female. So this is a male face, but you can easily like sort of like cut it down to like a more female face, right? My stuff tends to look a little more masculine, but and then the proportions are different if it's children, because the ears tend to be bigger, or I tend to make the eyes bigger. But yeah, hope that helps. But really, one thing I'd really press on is, if you really wanna up your game and up your skill points in terms of drawing faces and stuff, really draw from life and draw from anatomy that you can see, so you can start puzzling out how things slot together, what you need to to make things believable and realistic. One of the things that was a big breaking point for me, at least a breakthrough point for me, was the philtrum. You know, this line you have underneath the center of your nose towards the top of your lip. Once I noticed that, you know, I started drawing lips differently and I started drawing noses differently. So for you, it's gonna be something else. Everyone has sort of their own journey and unique way of how they perceive faces. And really, when you look at someone's style, it's usually an amalgamation of like their journey and the steps they took to get there. So I just encourage you to keep drawing and draw what you want to get better at drawing, and draw from memory and draw from imagination and cycle through all of that. And I think, you know, over time you'll get there. And, you know, don't rush it. Try to enjoy it. Try to think on paper, which is really the joy of drawing. And you'll get there. Eventually. Eventually your skills will catch up with your vision. Yeah. William Lee says, welcome back. Hello, William. It's good to be back. And I'm sorry I was gone for so long. So yeah, I'm just doing a casual drawing session. I wasn't sure really. I wanted to since I haven't done this live stream thing in so long, so crazy long. It's been months and months. I wanted to make sure that you know, I refreshed myself. And oh boy, this live stream started 10 minutes late because I had all these errors trying to get the freaking iPad to connect to the MacBook, and to get OBS to connect to my webcam, and like all this other stuff that I just normally don't think about when I'm drawing comics pages or doing commission work and stuff like that. But yeah, I'm excited to do more. I'm hoping, you know, after all the medical stuff I've gone through this year and all that, you know, crazy drama, that I can find some nice, peaceful zen and balance in my life. And hopefully I'll be able to YouTube more, because I really enjoy this. I really enjoy hanging out with you guys and talking to you. I enjoy sharing what I'm learning as I try to be a professional comic book artist. I've always wanted to go on this journey, and it feels like it's really starting to happen, and I want to make sure I have a record of it, you know, so that even when I'm gone, other artists can follow in my footsteps and hopefully, you know, make their own dreams come true, or at least comics related dreams, you know. Okay, there's Batgirl. Watch out for her new series coming soon. What else do I want to draw? I'm taking suggestions. Let's make her small now. Just like this looks good. I'll just throw that there. Boom. Batgirl. Oh, and probably should give her like a little bit of right? She needs some sort of rope. Poor Cassie. She's just sort of floating there in midair. So I'm gonna give her some of this. Great. And now she is swinging through the rooftops of Gotham. Alright, so maybe next I will draw. Who's coming up next? Oh, Fantastic Four. That's coming next week, right? Next year. I don't think I've drawn Fantastic Four stuff recently. Maybe let's Can I draw the Thing from memory? Oh no. Okay, I'm gonna try to draw the Thing from memory. Ben Grimm, our ever-loving thing, as created by Jack Kirby in the 1960s. He has a really particular look, and I don't think I've ever drawn him. So let's try. Let's try. This is gonna be a memory test, and feel free to join along if you want to do it, as I figure out how he looks. Because I can kind of picture him in my brain, but the memory is soft. So, the easiest thing at the start is obviously his, I think he has, like the Simpsons, he has like 3 fingers, so 4 fingers, right? And a thumb. 3 fingers and a thumb. So something like that. And I don't think he's a very Abby. He's more of like, let's get it down like this. Whoops. I probably should do this on a new layer. Let's do this on a new layer. Boom. Cut and paste. And actually, let's also make this smaller because, it doesn't have to be there for the whole thing. And then I think I don't think of him as like svelte, he's not like Colossus or whatever, or definitely not like a Peter Parker type. So he's a big guy. So I think more chunky, and he's made of rocks. So yeah, I just want to get that chunky, angular vibe. And I think he usually wears boots, but I'm not sure. I'm just gonna do shorts. Fantastic shorts. Made of unstable molecules by world-renowned Reed Richards, the Mr. Fantastic. Okay, so now the face. What I remember is he has a jaw, and he has a brow. And the brow sort of goes over his head like that. And he has a small Kirby nose, because I think Jack Kirby really related to this character. And then he had this giant jaw. That's sort of it there. Okay, so let's do that. I think that's his look. I hope I'm not wrong. We're gonna look at reference after this and see, but I think that's pretty cool. Acadian Comics, or Acadian, I hope, please correct me, I'm sorry if I'm butchering your name, says in the chat, can you also draw your version of Absolute Batman? Also, what are you working on these days? Are you still at Marvel? I am not still at Marvel. I haven't gotten a gig at Marvel yet, although I would absolutely love to. I've talked to some people. I met CB Cebulski earlier this year. He's the EIC of Marvel, but he was I met him alongside like a whole bunch of artists, all of whom want to get into Marvel. So I don't think he remembers me. And I also met a bunch of editors, but and I'm friends with a bunch of people who work at Marvel, like writers and stuff, but I have not been able to do anything for them yet, but I would love to. I absolutely would love to. I am a lifelong X-Men stan. really super badly. I read all the X comics, good or bad, so um, I am quite well versed in X lore, including the recent and very good Krakoan era. Um, and I've also read most of Spider-Man from the '90s up to the modern day, and yeah, I'm a Marvel kid. I grew up on Marvel, and it's so funny. I mean, I also read a bunch of DC, but like Marvel was my obsession, and DC was my introduction to comics. So it's interesting. I actually like broke in doing DC stuff, and I'm really grateful because the people at DC are so lovely, and I love working with the editors, and I love working on the characters. My first comic, and I think I've mentioned this a bunch of times, that I recall reading was Crisis on Infinite Earths, and that was my intro to the DC multiverse and all these characters. I didn't even know who Superman or Batman was, and and then I see them sort of like struggling against the apocalypse, which is crazy. And they've done it a bunch of times since then, and it doesn't get old for me. It's still pretty fun. Okay, that's my quick Ben Grimm from memory. I think that works pretty well. I'm gonna do maybe... Let's make sure he has some rocks down here. I love Ben because he's like a character who exemplifies the perfect like Beauty and the Beast archetype, where he's like ugly, disfigured, he feels like no one loves him, he feels super unattractive and all that stuff, but he's a good guy with a heart of gold. He's misunderstood, people treat him poorly, but he's got a big heart and he just wants to do what's right, and he's just a genuine real dude. I'm gonna make sure his trapezius goes a bit higher, so it feels a lot more buff. There we go. And we'll throw some quick inks down here, just to make sure he has some nice shading. And then I'm gonna throw some colors on this, so we'll definitely do... See if I can do a fill. Is this open somewhere? It is. I'm just not sure where. There we go. Invert. I'm gonna throw this orangish rock down. Oh man, I'm behind on the chat. Okay, Acadian Comics says, who are your greatest influences for your drawing style? That changes every week. Okay, well, that's not fair. It doesn't change that often. So definitely love Frank Whiteley. He's one of the artists I obsess over. Basically anything he does I'm gonna buy, because his stuff is just inspiration fuel for me. I first saw him when he took over the X-Men, and I hated him and I hated his work, and 3 issues later I was absolutely in love with his work and upset that he was just being replaced by another artist. So yeah, I fell hard, and I fell really, deeply in love with his work. Over the years, he's been good. The other one I like, one of my big ones when I was in high school, is Joe Madureira. Again, another X-Men artist. Also Neil Francis Yu, fellow Filipino artist and one of the big greats. I met him when he was drawing Wolverine. He came to my high school and shared like a lot of thoughts and advice. One of the things I remember he taught me, he said to always look at your work in the mirror, because you really get myopic after a while and stop seeing the mistakes. So being able to look at it in the mirror helps refresh your work and see it again in a new light and really identify if you're missing something weird. So I do that. I did that when I was working more on pen and paper, and now when with the iPad, it's so easy. You can just like flip horizontally, and then you can kind of see, you know, a mirrored version of your work and see if it still holds up when it's flipped. I'm not gonna futz with this too much though, because it's a sketch, so we'll keep that as is. Other influences, oh my god, I could go on all day. I love Dave McKean. He's the multimedia artist who you probably know from Sandman. He did the Sandman covers. But also he's been doing his own graphic novels like Raptor and Pictures That Tick, which is like an amazing short story collection of multimedia stuff. I wanna have a studio that's big and I can experiment with traditional materials as much as him. And I wanna do comics like that too at some point. It's just I'm very like focused on this sort of mainstreamy style I have right now. And Eric Canetti is a big one. I didn't realize how big an influence he was on me until like semi-recently when he dropped by the stream, and I was like, oh my god, I know this artist. Like, this is the guy who did Mr. Majestic and that Iron Man series, and I read that Mr. Majestic and also Aeon Flux. His style was in Aeon Flux and a bunch of other cartoon shows that I loved. So, and he's also Filipino. So yeah, that's just naming a few names. I'm in love with David Marquez right now. I love Pepe Larraz's work. There's just a lot. So don't get me started. Okay, so this is Ben Grimm. And then I'm gonna go for that absolute Batman thing. Alright, let's get Ben down here. Oops. Let's get him down here under Cassandra. Boom. I'm on an M4 MacBook Pro. And I am... oh, give me a sec. Am I having buffering issues? I think we're good. Error, YouTube will not receive video to maintain smooth streaming. Viewers will experience buffering. Okay, I'm sorry guys if you're seeing buffering. It's my connection. Yeah, hopefully that sorts itself out. Okay, so the question was, what am I using to share from iPad screen? So I'm using OBS Studio to stream it. There's all sorts of info on how to do that. I just did the bare bones tutorial in order to get it up and running, but it allows me to put my webcam on top of the iPad video feed, on top of an image, on top of the logo of my YouTube channel. So yeah, this sort of does it bare bones in a good way. And then for the iPad connection, what happens is if you connect the iPad to a MacBook, one of the perks of it being all Apple is if you connect it while Finder is on, Finder will just see the iPad as a video feed, so you can easily add it into OBS as a something you can stream mirror. So all I have is the iPad kind of wired here via USB-C, and yeah, that's it. It just goes straight in. I've tried the one where you Wi-Fi it in. There's stuff like ApowerSoft. So I was on a Windows PC about halfway to the life cycle of this channel, and then I switched to a MacBook Pro. So while I was on a Windows PC, in order to get the iPad screen mirroring, I had to use like a third-party software called ApowerSoft, which allowed me to sort of screen mirror into it, but like, dude, it was so unstable. Or maybe it was my PC, or maybe it was my Wi-Fi connection, but I kept having hiccups during streams, and it wasn't the best. But I streamed like that for like years, so it's not like unusable, but it's not as good as what I have now. Um, so yeah, check out APowerSoft. There's probably a better solution if you're a PC user, but um, be wary of paid solutions, because like OBS is free. I didn't pay a cent for OBS, and obviously this Mac streaming thing is free. But like, I think I had to pay $20 for APowerSoft, and I don't know. They had a free demo version, so try those things first and try them well before you commit to any solution. But yeah, one of the reasons I switched to Mac was because of all those issues I had while I was on the PC. And even though like I'm a I'm a gamer, guys, I freaking love PC games. I have like an insane Steam library, and I geek on all the big releases throughout the year. Even if I don't play them, I don't play all of them, but I definitely like, right now I'm only playing Diablo 4 because that's like brainless enough to play. And after all the cozy games I've been playing recently, I was playing like what was I playing? That was super dumb. Hello Kitty Island Adventure. That was so good, so fun. Coral Island, all of those like farming cozy sims. It's nice to take breaks from that and play like a little more hardcore stuff like Diablo or Elden Ring. I've been playing Shadow of the Earth Tree earlier this year. But yeah, it's too demanding, especially when I'm on a deadline. I can't have like a brain heavy game going. It's just it's too much for me. So I'm definitely doing like Nick Dragotta proportions here, where it's like he's really super jacked, but I'm gonna do my best. I lost track of the question. Oh yeah. So this was about streaming. Yeah, so streaming. Yeah, that's my setup. Plug in an iPad to a Mac, use OBS Studio, stream. There you go. If you know a better way, let me know. I'm always looking for better ways to do things, or ways to do things better. Yeah, I'm not sure how these epaulets go, but I'm gonna try to make it work. By the way, the stream, I'm gonna wrap it up I should be wrapping it up soon, but let me finish this Batman and then we will wrap it up, because I try to keep it to an hour. It's kind of I think it helps people who want to watch it after budget time for it. Yeah, and I'm streaming it on odd time. I used to stream Sunday mornings, which really got a lot of the California folk on. And sometimes I'd stream on weeknights here in New York, so EST, maybe like 6 or 7 p.m. And I always seem to like catch a different group of people when I stream on a different time. So yeah, thank you guys for coming on. It's been fun. Brian says, I've never heard of Absolute Batman. Who is that? Sorry, I didn't get to read comics that much. Okay, wait. Let me grab something and I'll show you really quick. Here we go. Okay, so for exposition on Absolute Batman, this is the DC All-In Special, which just came out this week. It's $5 and it's like 80 pages or something. It's a ridiculous length. It's very thick. And this is like you see on this side the regular DC universe with Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman. And if you flip it, you'll see what they're calling the Absolute Universe. So on the left here, you'll see Absolute Batman, and he's super big and jacked. You see Absolute Wonder Woman with her giant sword, and Absolute Superman, who's very emo and has got like a cape of, the dust of the planet Krypton and other stuff like that. And basically, the concept for the Absolute Universe, no spoilers, but it's based on Darkseid energy. And so the general idea is that what if these characters, right, who have a lot of advantages, like Batman has like a lot of money and a mansion and all that stuff. Superman has his fortress and the support of his peers. Wonder Woman has the whole Paradise Island thing going and all that stuff. What if they didn't have those advantages? So it's a hardcore universe of like stripped down DC characters, basically. And yeah, what I'm drawing right now is Absolute Batman, and I'm talking about it so I can cheat a little and look at what he looks like so I can draw it properly. Yeah. So hope that answers your question, Brian. Let's get back to it. Okay. But yeah, check out that Absolute special that it's called DC All In, and it's $5. It's $5 for like all that comic, It's written by Scott Snyder. I think the artists are Wes Craig, who you might know from Deadly Class, amazing artist, and the other artist is Daniel Sampere, who is just top notch. I'm not sure if he's the current Wonder Woman artist, but he's freaking great. He's like definitely one of my favorites working today. Very polished, clean line work. Reminds me of Jose Garcia Lopez and, those classic DC artists and all that. And then you get to see the new Justice League and the new Watchtower and all this cool stuff going on. And then on the flip side, you see the birth of the Absolute Universe. So no spoilers, but like, wow, it's crazy. I don't know if you guys ever read the Scott Snyder Justice League run, which like culminated in dark metal with DC Metal and Dark Knights and all of that crazy sort of like dark multiverse stuff. But this tastes like that. It tastes like that, but a little less wild. Just, I feel like it's a lot more controlled. So I'm excited to see where it goes. My fingers are crossed, please. That an editor or whatever, someone working on the Absolute books, looks in my direction and is like, you want to draw a fill-in issue or like whatever. I would be so down. I would like go nuts over it. It's so fun to play in a sandbox like that. And it reminds me of like, I don't know if you guys remember, I'm old enough to remember the Ultimate Universe and how that sort of like painted this new portrait of the Marvel Universe, which got people to sort of see all of these heroes in a new way. And some of it became the template for the MCU, and how, we see the superheroes on screen for the past 10 years. I remember the birth of the Ultimate Universe, and that was such a good time. And this Absolute Universe thing feels like it's got that energy, right? I think his bat logo is like this crazy axe type thing, and yeah, we're gonna keep it at that. Yeah, this guy is wild. I think Batman can take a lot of abuse as a character, and he can definitely cycle through many versions, and I love that the Absolute Batman really, really pushed it and went for like a very extreme version of Batman that we hadn't seen before. So I like that his build is completely different, and I also like that, he's got design things that you just never see or you've never seen in past Batman type things. So I think he's got like instead of a cape, it's sort of this wing thing. So I'm just gonna do that. And some belt stuff, utility belt stuff. I'm gonna do the flip thing just to make sure he's not drifting too far out. I'm seeing that this is looking starting to look a little unbalanced, so we're gonna correct a bit. So one of the things I learned doing life drawing is about the center of gravity. And that's the idea that, however you position the figure, the center of gravity is usually directly below where the head is. And the body adjusts in order to make sure the head is well balanced. So you'll see here, Bruce's head just goes straight down here. So now, because I know that that's the center of gravity, I'm making sure that the legs are compensating for that and situating themselves in what I think is a sensible distribution of weight. Obviously, if you're drawing someone mid-run, mid-stride, or hanging upside down in some aerial pose, the rules will change a bit. But usually when they're standing or sitting, the center of gravity is just exactly beneath where the head is. So, yeah, pro tip. And I think this Batman has a sort of quietly styled, sort of shorts type look. So we're gonna do that. And I know there are these like wing things, right? Which go like that. And then like really badass boots. So we're gonna keep that there. My dealer asked me to draw some Absolute Batman, like as a commission thing, before New York Comic Con, and I haven't had time, so I'm glad we're doing this practice now, because I'll probably have to draw him when we get to New York Comic Con and figure out what my approach is to this character, because he's so interesting. Got a really cool look. And honestly, I think I can just fill this whole thing in. Whoops, nope. Where is that? There we go. Let's fill this whole thing in like that. And then I'll just paint in the highlights later. Alright, that's the look. Let's throw some colors on him. And I think he has spikes? Oh my god. Am I wrong? I think he has spikes. Like here? Something like that. Like very Halloween-y. Yeah. Alright. Let's start wrapping this up. I'm gonna throw some quick colors on this. And I need sort of a neutral gray, maybe something like that. Yeah, that looks good. We'll do that. Boom. Okay, I'm feeling it. And then I'm gonna do a really quick sort of clipping mask thing. We'll get his ashen face in. I'm desaturating the palette because it's sort of that grim, gritty universe vibe, whatever. Maybe he has night vision goggles or something, and he's got like maybe reddish lenses. I don't know. And then there's a nice sort of darker version of this gray, which we'll use as the base for his sort of batsuit look. Boom. Something like that. Boom. And boom. And then lastly, we're gonna give him, let's desaturate this a bit, some utility beltiness. Alright. Gosh, you're making me want to draw like a real, like a full-on illustration of Absolute Batman. That would be super cool. Boom. Hey love, I'm streaming. I'll be right out, yeah. So yeah. Alright. So there is our Absolute Batman as requested. I hope you like that. We'll move him next to... Whoops. We'll move him next to Ben Grimm. I'm thinking he's about yay tall. Right? And honestly, maybe he's in the foreground. He's a little bigger, but not by much. Something like this. Let's move Grimm around. Let's maybe make him have him here like this. Boom. And then Cassie, because she's swinging through Gotham in the background, we'll get her over here. Yeah. Turn off magnetics so I can get like a nicer flow. There we go. All right. And that's it for our Hangout live stream session. Hello, Justice. Good evening from Jace to JC Art Studio. Original J Max. Hello, hello. It's nice to be back. Thank you for the warm welcome. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this stream. I'm gonna try to stream again next weekend before New York Comic Con madness begins, and hopefully I'll have my wits about me. I have a bunch of YouTube videos in the pipeline, so fingers crossed I find that balance I've been talking about, and you know we get to more of that stuff out the door. And yeah, hope you guys have a lovely week. May you always be inspired. Keep drawing. Keep making your beautiful things. And yeah, I'm on Instagram every day. If you want to tag me on things, or you want to see what I'm up to, or you just want to message me to ask me anything, I'm here for you guys. All right? Have a lovely Sunday evening. Peace.